Hatuna kisasi kwa sababu kanisa haikuwa yetu. Kanisa ni ya Mungu. Ikibomolewa ni makazi ya Mungu ambayo yamebomolewa. Ikiteketezwa ni makazi ya Mungu ambayo yameteketezwa. Kwa hivyo hasira kubwa itakuwa ya Mungu, lakini Mungu ni wa rehema. Atawasamehe hao, na tunajua siku moja watatubu na watakuwa Waislamu na watakuwa Wakristo na watatetea mambo ya imani kutoka hapo. So we do not condemn them and say they are evil, although we would want that evil that took place to be addressed, so that we do not have such a repeat of such actions. A lot of property has been destroyed. It will take time to rebuild, but with the prayer na marafiki wengi tutaweza kujenga upya. Kwa hivyo kama kanisa ya PCEA sisi tuwasema kwamba tuna msamaha, lakini tungetaka sheria nayo ichukue mahali pake, ifuatilie maovu hayo. Pili, tungetaka kuwauliza viongozi wetu walio serikalini na walio kwa upinzani. Sasa wanaona madhara ambayo yametupata, na tuliwaambia kitambo haya mambo mshauriane, kwa sababu Waswahili wanasema mtego wa panya huingia waliomo na wasiokuwamo. Sasa sisi hatujahusika, Waislamu hawakuhusika, Wakristo hatujahusika, lakini sasa mnaona hasara imetupata. Imepata Waislamu, imepata Wakristo. Kwa hivyo viongozi wetu wa kisiasa tugesihi, tafadhali mkubali kushauriana. Mnaweza kushauriana hata bila kusalimiana. Hata bila kusalimiana mkikutana mshauriane, sisi tupate amani, hatuna lingine tunalotaka. Kwa sababu vita hivi vya kisiasa mnaona ile hasara ambayo vimetusababishia. Na kuna changamoto nyingi za Kenya, lakini zote sasa zimewekwa kando. Sasa tunaongea siasa. Lakini kuna changamoto za matibabu, za masomo, za gharama ya maisha, lakini hizo ni kama sasa tumeziweka kando. Kwa hivyo tungeomba viongozi wetu wa kidini, wa kisiasa watulete pamoja. Mnaona sisi tuko pamoja kama viongozi wa kidini, tungetaka na nyinyi muwe pamoja, mtukusiwe na haya mambo yafike mwisho, kwa sababu yanatuathiri kwa njia nyingi sana. Vijana wetu ambao wanapaswa kukua katika mazingira mazuri sasa wameigizwa katika maovu. Kwa hivyo kama kanisa ya PCA ningetaka kuwakaribisha watu wa interfaith, ningetaka kuwakaribisha ndugu zetu na dada zetu wa Kiislamu. Hapa ni kwenu. Asanteni kwa kuja kusimama na sisi, kwa sababu hili linaonyesha kwamba yaliyotupata yamewapata pia. Na pia najua tutakuwa na wakati hata wa kutembelea msikiti ili tuweze kusimama pamoja, na ili wafuasi wetu wasije hata wakati mmoja wakachukulia ati kuna vita vya kidini. Hakuna vita vya kidini. Huu ulikuwa uhalifu, na wahalifu wakiwa Wakristo, wahalifu wakiwa Waislamu ni wahalifu. Na hatusimamii uhalifu, kwa sababu sisi hatukuhusika katika mambo yaliyokuwepo. Hakuna yeyote mmoja aliyehusika, lakini tumeigizwa katika changamoto hizo. Kwa hivyo Father Mutie, asante sana. Unaweza kuendelea na program.
Asante moderator. Tumekuja kusimama nanyi, na vile umesema ni kweli, hata sisi tumetembea, tumeona uhalifu ambao umeweza kufanyika. Hili ni jambo la huzuni sana, na tunasikia kwamba, tunahisi kwamba hili sio jambo ambalo linastahili kuonekana katika enzi ya leo, where people have a bit of civilization. Mambo ya kuharibu, mambo ya kutumia nguvu na kufanya uhalifu sio mambo mazuri. Kwa hivyo tunahuzunika kuona hayo yamefanyika katika kanisa letu. Tutakuwa na unenaji mdogo, doing a press statement, na tutakuwa na watu ambao wataongea. Tutakuwa na Olenado, Sheikh Olenado ambaye ndiye chairman wa Supreme Council of Kenya Muslim. Tuna Abdullahi Abdi from NAMLEF, National Muslim Leaders Forum. Tutakuwa na moderator mwenyewe ataongea tena, na mimi nitaweza kuongea. Kama kuna mambo ambao, and I hear the commissioner, one commissioner from NCIC is here. So later they will also be talking. We have also Dr. Hilton Irungu from Amnesty International, and we also have the police. They will have some space. So allow me to go direct to the press statement. And I will begin. Members of the press, residents of Kibra, people of Kenya, we as religious leaders and the umbrella of the Interreligious Council of Kenya are meeting here in Kibra constituency, weighed down by the unfortunate event that started yesterday morning during the mass protests, culminating in a night of arson, tears, anger, and losses by families of Muslims and Christians here. Last night, the Pentecostal Church of East Africa, the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, was razed to the ground by unknown people. Last night, the Masjid Al-Aqsa Islam Mosque was also set on fire by unknown arsonists. Last night, loss of property, including PCA school and homes around, were disturbed by the unrest and lost property to the night inferno. Many Kenyans have woken up to this disheartening, disturbing twists and turns of events, which we condemn unreservedly. Hundreds of families have faced a dark night of pain, anxiety, worry, and loss instigated by political interests and misconceived, misguided agents of hooligans. It is sad that Kibra community is being dismembered along perceived religious and political differences which in fact do not exist. Allow me to request Sheikh Al-Adi Olenado to come forward and continue.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Our unity is always the strength upon which we have always faced challenges and tribulations in our long years of brotherly coexistence. Christians and Muslims have never been enemies. We live in the same neighborhoods, our children play together, and some attend the same schools. And we go to the same hospitals, they breathe the same air given freely by God the Almighty. It is for these reasons that as religious leaders, we are deeply pained and regret the unfolding, sprawling incidences of violence linked to the nationwide protest called by the Azimio One Kenya coalition. It is unfortunate that these unsettling events are taking place just at the onset of the holy month of Ramadan, marked in the Islamic calendar for prayers and fasting.
The people of Kenya do not want a civil war. The people of Kibra are not ready or willing to be dismembered or to be used as tools of political convenience in the hands of some politicians. Right here, at this particular moment, in these disturbed Kibra grounds, we call on all Kenyan politicians to rise to the higher ground of sobriety and put the country first. First, we call on His Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, to inclusively steady the ship of state. He is the leader of this nation state. And through his administration, with the instruments of power, to creatively use the power to make Kenya the home for all the people. Secondly, we appeal to former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, to go easy on his militant political stance against the government and to call on his supporters to be peaceful. We appeal to him to refrain from making calls to his supporters about possible storming of the State House. Thirdly, we are calling on politicians to refrain, to cease and desist from using inflammatory language in political meetings and social media, to advance hard stances and to incite their ardent followers, which has inadvertently led to the unfortunate events of last night here in Kibra. The events of last night for us to travel back in time to the sad memories of brother against brother, Kenyan against Kenya in the aftermath of the 2007-2008 post-election confrontations that metamorphosed into dark days of violence, killings, destruction of property, and displacement of persons in their thousands. The stain of that time remains our national shame to date.
In the foregoing, we call on one, His Excellency the President, William Ruto, and the former Prime Minister, Honorable, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, to have a coordinational meet-up and discussion to quell political tension in the country. They must meet and come together and talk. We demand. Yes. As the Mio One Kenya Coalition, we call upon you to call off the demonstrations and use alternative approaches to handle your grievances. Civil society organizations to stop being sucked into political persuasions, but retain their positions as the dependable nerve centers of good governance, leadership, and national security advocacy. Religious leaders to fully engage political leaders in non-partisan ways for the good of the country and interreligious support to national leadership. Media to engage, pursue non-partisan, non-aligned coverage and the reporting of political events so that media reporting and coverage is not misconstrued to fund political motives. Politicians to immediately stop aggressive political mobilization aimed at destabilizing national peace and security. National Security Council to intervene and direct the state of internal threats to national security without further delay. Well-wishers to join the Interreligious Council of Kenya in rebuilding the destroyed property and restore families here in Kibra to a better state of living. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. We are also here as a community of faith. The Hindu community is also here with us. So we are the Christians, the Muslims, and the Hindu communities. I know we do have a commissioner from NCIC, and if you allow, we can give him a minute. Then we'll also have Dr. Alton Irungu from Amnesty International. Please come forward, if you kindly. And then after them, we'll mention who is next. Please come.
All right. Thank you all. My name is Danvas Makori. I'm a commissioner at NCIC. First and foremost is to thank the Inter-Religious Council of Kenya, RCK, for your quick and timely action in nipping the bud and preempting more chaos in this lovely place of Kibra. We worked closely with RCK for a long time during the election, before the election and after the election, and that's why also we are here together. Part of our mandate, of course, is to, as you know, is cohesion, especially within our religious communities, and that's why we work closely with RCK in matters peace and cohesion in our country. Mine is very brief, and I'm going to just use this analogy which most of you know, of an example which has been given of where black ants and red ants were put in a jar, and they are very okay. And when somebody shook that jar, the black ants and the red ants started killing and fighting each other, and you know the analogy. It is quite clear, for a long time, the residents of Kibra, you know, they've lived in peace. We worked here closely many times. We've been here on the ground many times. As a matter of fact, even before the election, we had numerous meetings here within the communities, within the faiths. There has been, for a long time, has been peace. But somebody decided to shake the jar yesterday, so that the black ants and the red ants start fighting and almost killing each other in this place. So, for us as a commission, we condemn that strongly. And ours is to pledge to work closely with RCK, with the community elders in Kibra, with the youth leaders in Kibra, to make sure peace is set first. I want to thank the security apparatus who are represented here. also for your presence here to make sure at least there is peace and stability. We acknowledge the civil society here, led by our good friend Ruto from Amnesty. Our message is very simple to our leaders, and I'll finish with this. We saw what happened in Kibra. Nobody Monday morning thought by nighttime mosques and churches will be ablaze. This is what happens when conflict is, the seeds of conflict and disharmony are planted, because you cannot control conflict and war. So really I urge all our leaders, beginning with principals, to make sure we don't go this far anymore. That is just a harbinger of things to come if we don't control this, we don't call our country back. I urge our leaders to make sure that we remember we have one country, we de-escalate, we have dialogue for the sake of our country, for the sake of our community. Kibra has been united for a long time. All communities are here, all faiths are here. So let us continue steadfastly in the manner of peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have also Dr. Hilton Irungu.
Back a little bit.
God is good. Alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum.
May Allah and God forgive the people of Kibra. To have two places of worship destroyed in less than a few hours between each other means that there is something very deep that needs to be exercised, that needs to be removed from our culture of politics. Mine will be to be very brief. My name is Irungu Houghton. I am the Executive Director of Amnesty International Kenya, and I'm here to say that what happened yesterday was completely unnecessary. It was unnecessary because we have a constitutional framework for non-violent protests, and that is Article 37. We also have guidelines that have been developed by the Kenya National Commission for Human Rights and other agencies on how people can protest without looting, without violence, and without loss of life. I hear that it's not just one person that may have died last night, but many. And we need to find out who those people are and really give them the dignity, but also the assurance that we will not see this happen, not just in the community of Kibra, but across this country. Last night, Luos lost their businesses, they lost their garages, Nubians lost their businesses, Kisis were attacked, Kikuyus lost their kiosks, and all people of God suffered. And I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, how will we allow ourselves to be manipulated by politicians and by criminals? I need to ask this question particularly because the National Police Service are here. Where were the police last night in Kibra? Where were the police last night in the rangelands, the northern rangelands? Where were they in Spectre? And if they were there, let the police tell us.